Hi friends, welcome back to your chair yoga practice. Glad that you're able to join me today. Let's get started with our opening pose of our seated Shavasana. So let's take this time to not only relax our bodies, but also to slow down our minds, take a break from all the intensity that's happening, and we'll just give ourselves a little break. So you can close the eyes or have a soft gaze down to the floor. You can turn the palms of the hands to face up if you need a little bit more energy, or palms of the hands to face down if you need a little bit more calming, a little bit more soothing. So that could also depend on the time of day that you're practicing. And as we find ourselves in stillness, let's start to build our Ujjayi breath. Or we're breathing in and out through the nose if that's open and comfortable. Expanding the belly as you inhale and softening it back as you exhale. So focusing on that deep way of breathing. And then let's add a soothing sound to the breath, as if you're fogging a mirror in front of you, both on the inhales and the exhales. And let's take just a few really deep rounds of breath, feeling the body relax a little bit more, feeling the mind kind of slow down as it starts to focus on the experience of your breath. And one last Ujjayi breath here. Notice any parts of the body that might require any modification or skipping, and always feel free to do that. So we're doing what feels good to the body. So if something doesn't feel good, feel free to skip. Feel free to take as many breaks as you'd like. Let's draw the palms of the hands together at our heart center and just take a moment here, and let's give ourselves permission to take a break from kind of our normal life so that you can relax the mind, relax the body, and get maybe some good healing for your heart. And then if you'd like to set an intention or dedication for your practice, go ahead and do so at this time. And then let's open the eyes if they're closed. Namaste, everybody. Great to have you practice with me today. Let's sit up tall so our back is off the back of the chair. And then we'll start with the hands just onto the thighs and find that really tall upright way of our mountain pose, or seated mountain pose. So feel that gentle engagement of the core muscles, front, sides, and back to help support that neutral position, that upright position of the spine. Feel the shoulders are stacked over the hips and drawing down. And then feel the head right over the tailbone, bottom of the chin parallel to the floor. And then when you have all that, let's draw the arms down by the sides, turn the palms to face forward. And then on the inhale, let's circle those arms out or forward and up, whatever feels good for the shoulders. And then exhale, hands to the heart. And remember, if the shoulders aren't feeling so good today, feel free to modify or skip. Inhale, arms out and up. And then exhale, draw the hands back to the heart. And then one more time, inhale, arms out and up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Take a moment here. Take a full Ujjayi breath here. And let's exhale that out the mouth. And then return to your Ujjayi breath. And then let's draw the arms down by the sides. Have the palms facing each other. Move the shoulders down. And then on the inhale, we'll draw those arms forward to about parallel to the floor. So maybe you're staying here, really working on kind of feeling the heaviness of the shoulders pull down towards the hips or towards the floor. If it is okay to lift the arms higher, then go ahead and do so, as long as you can keep pulling the shoulders down. And we'll take another inhale here and imagine you're holding like a beach ball. And then as you exhale, just a mini side bend over to one side. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale over to the other side. And then inhale, come back to center. And then exhale, draw those arms back to parallel. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, twist. So imagine you're still holding that beach volleyball in front of you. Inhale back to center. And then exhale over to the other side. And then let's come back to center. Draw the arms back down by the sides. Take a full Ujjayi breath here, both the inhale and the exhale. And then let's start to draw those arms back behind you and up. Keep pulling those shoulders down. You'll feel a little bit of arch in the spine, comfortable arch. Take an inhale here. And then as you exhale, draw those arms back forward and then place the palms onto your legs. And then let's come into our cat pose. So start to round through the spine, pull the belly in. Maybe the chin drops down, just to a comfortable stretch for the back of the body. Easy movement for the spine. And then let's slowly make our way back to that seated mountain pose where we're sitting up nice and tall. Perfect posture if you can. Arms down by the sides. So we'll inhale, arms forward or forward and up, your comfort point. And then exhale, mini side bend. Inhale back to center. Exhale over to the other side. Inhale back to center. Exhale, draw those arms back to parallel. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, twist. Inhale draws you back to center. And then exhale over to the other side. And let's come back to center as you inhale. And then exhale, arms back down. And then inhale, arms draw back behind you, little arch in the spine. Think of our seated cow pose. And then as you exhale, round through the spine and just relax those hands onto the thighs for a little support. And then let's press our way back to sit up tall and relax those arms down by the sides. So this is our spinal flow. Let's do it one more time. Inhale, lift those arms to your comfortable height. And then exhale, easy side bend. Inhale back to center. And then exhale over to the other side. Inhale brings you back to center. And then exhale, arms draw forward. Take an inhale. And then exhale, twist. Inhale back to center. And then exhale, twist over to the other side. And then back to center as you inhale. And then exhale, draw those arms slowly back down by the sides. Inhale, little arch in the spine, seated cow pose, and then exhale, round, seated cat pose, hands onto the thighs. And then let's press our way back up. We'll keep our hands onto the thighs, take an inhale here, and then exhale, just the head turns over to one direction. And then while you're here, you might notice that the shoulders might be forward of the hips, so draw it back. So you can imagine there's a wall behind you, you're trying to get your shoulders, the backs of the shoulders to gently touch the wall, and also the part of your head to touch the wall. Easy stretch through the neck. Let's draw the head through center as you inhale, and then exhale over to the other side and take a few rounds of breath here. And always noticing the sides of the body, making observations, but no judgments. Just noticing what's happening for today. It might be morning, so your body might need a little bit more time to warm up, or maybe it's in the evening and you feel pretty warm. And then let's draw the head back to center. Let's relax those arms down by the sides. And from here, let's separate those fingers really wide so you can see that the palms of my hands are getting a stretch, my fingers are getting a stretch, as wide as is comfortable. And then maintaining that energy in those hands, let's pull the shoulders down as we draw those arms out to the side. Think of warrior two arms. Really pull the shoulders down. So feel those muscles along the upper back work. And then on the inhale, let's draw those arms a little bit back behind us to your comfortable point. And then as you exhale, we'll draw them forward as far as feels comfortable. Keep pulling those shoulders down. So inhale, arms out. So lots of energy in those arms and the upper back. And then exhale, draw it forward. Moving slowly. One more time with the rhythm of the breath. Inhale, arms back without changing the position of the spine. So really strong in the core. And then exhale, draw them forward. Let's draw those arms out to the side. Turn the palms to face up. Start to bend through those elbows. So imagine you're carrying a tray of food on each hand. We'll start to bend those elbows, draw them in as far as is comfortable. Keep pulling the shoulders down, but we want the palms of the hands to be parallel to the floor. And then let's start to straighten those arms out. And remember, if drawing them out doesn't feel as good, you can draw them forward a little bit. So let's start to bend those elbows, start drawing the elbows back towards the side of the body. And then keeping those shoulders down, begin to extend those arms out, straightening them. They don't have to be perfectly straight. Let's do that 2 more times. Elbows draw in, and then straighten the arms. And then 1 more time, elbows in, and straighten the arms. Let's flip those palms back to face down. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, let's wrap your right elbow over the left, reach for your shoulder blades, and then pull the shoulders down, and let's drop the chin down towards the chest. Easy stretch along the back of the neck. And then go ahead and upright. Extend those arms out, maybe a little bit back behind you, only if that feels good. And then opposite elbow on top, reach for your shoulder blades. Draw those elbows down, little drop of the chin down towards the chest. And then let's upright the head, open the arms out, relax them down, shake it out. Let's come into our boat pose to warm up through the core. So scooch a little bit more forward to the front edge of the chair, draw the feet and the knees together, sit up tall. Remember, we can start with the fingertips behind the thighs for a little extra support. So really strong in the core, strong flat back. Let's lean it back. So still having that neutral position in the spine, that flat back, that lifting of the chest, that really tight engagement through the core. Breathe here. So even though we're engaging through the muscles in the belly, we're still allowing the belly to expand and soften as we breathe. Tighten up even through the sideways. And remember, you can use your fingertips behind the legs for a little support. The heels can lift, but keep the toes down. 1 more full round in our boat pose. Full round of breath, and then go ahead and pull yourself forward. And then you can round through the spine. You can get a little sway left and right. You can get a little twist. So kind of feel things out of how your lower back is doing and kind of what type of stretch it needs. Or maybe you're just coming into stillness and taking a moment. And then let's sit up tall. Draw the inner legs together. Draw the feet together. Maybe start with the fingertips behind the thighs, sit up tall, lean it back, find your boat pose. Maybe fingertips stay here, maybe arms extend forward with the palms facing each other, either forward or up. The higher your arms, the more challenging it will be, the more you really have to focus on engaging through the core. Try to get that lift in the chest, that neutral position of the spine. Take another inhale, stay for the exhale. And then arms forward, pull yourself forward, and then you can round through the spine, you can separate the knees, you can sway left and right, add a little twist, or find stillness. Whatever movement feels good, even sometimes a circular movement might feel good on that lower back. And then 1 more time in our boat pose, sit up tall, hinge it back, whatever angle feels good. Maybe this time you're extending those arms forward, turning the palms to face up, extending those arms out. You can have a soft bend in those elbows, imagining you're carrying those trays of food. So really energizing through the arms, energizing through the core, the inner legs. Lots of work happening in the body, even though we're still just in a seated position. Last round of breath here. It's even hard for me to talk. And then let's pull ourselves up. Whew, separate those feet wider than the chair, forearms onto the thighs, fold it forward. Release the head. If it feels good, you can lower a little bit closer down towards the floor. Just make sure your outer ribs are supported by your inner thighs and your hands are resting on something. And breathe here. And then let's place our hands onto the thighs, elbows in, press our way, that push up to come upright. And then let's scooch back into our chair so we can warm up through the legs. We'll start by lifting your right leg off, a few circles. Change the direction of your circle. And then inhale, straighten that leg, press it forward, kick it forward, toes back down, up towards your face. And then exhale, hug it in as high as is comfortable, point out through the toes. Twice more, inhale to lengthen. And then exhale, draw it in. And then 1 last time, inhale, lengthen. And exhale, draw it in. And then let's start to circle that knee. Remember, your range of motion only. So if you have had any hip injuries or surgeries or any concerns, feel free to modify or skip. Change the direction of your circles. It's kind of warming up through the hips, getting a little stretch out. Our hips are an integral part of our Warrior 2, especially our Warrior 2 series. So we want to make sure that they are warmed up. Over to the other side, lift and circle that foot. Listening for any cracks in my ankles. Change the direction of your foot circle. And then inhale, kick it forward without locking out the knee. And then exhale, hug it in, point out through the toes. So 2 more times, inhale, press it forward. And then exhale, hug it in. And then one last time, following your Ujjayi breath, that cleansing, that refreshing breath. And then let's start to circle. Find your size of circle that feels good. Change the direction of your circle. Get a stretch through the hips, also the inner thighs, inner legs. And then let's place that foot down. Return to that seated mountain pose, but let's sit a little bit more towards the front edge of the chair, separating those feet a little bit wider than the hips. And then we'll have the knees right over the ankles or a tiny bit forward. And as always, make sure the knees don't go past the toes. Knees always track towards the direction of the center of the toes so they don't come in or out. We're tightening up through the core and maintaining a strong flat back, so that really good posture. So 2 options for our sit to stands. Option 1, if you'd prefer not to come up and down out of the chair, you'll hinge forward at the hips, press into the heels, squeeze your bottom, squeeze the thighs, the legs, as if you're going to stand up, but you'll stay seated. And then relax. That'll be 1 rep. If you are coming all the way to a standing position, really making sure those knees don't come together, they track towards the center of the toes and they don't go past the toes. So they really just stay just a few inches, up to a few inches forward of the ankles. And when you come down, hinging forward at the hips, so you can maintain that strong flat back. Fingertips can reach back for the chair behind you. So wherever you are, whether you're staying seated in the chair or you're coming up and down, up to 5 times, or however many times feels appropriate for your body. But we do want to move in a slow and controlled manner so you can really feel those muscles work. So if you are coming up and down, trying to go relatively slowly so you can feel those muscles in your bottom, the muscles in the legs, really working. I think this is my last one. I am not quite sure, but I will do 1 more just to play it safe. Okay. So you are welcome to do the standing poses from a seated position, or at any time if you are standing, you can come and take a break into your chair. And let's go into our standing positions behind the chair. All right, from a standing mountain position behind the chair, mountain pose, let's have our feet about hip bone distance apart, all 10 toes pointing forward, arms down by the sides, draw those shoulders up, back and down, tighten up through the core, head pulled back. Lots to think about just to come into an upright standing position. And then let's circle those arms out and up, take an inhale, and then exhale, hands to the heart. And then let's press those arms forward and begin to separate the hands. So draw the palms to face each other, and then take an inhale here to lift, and then exhale, arms back down, and then maybe a little bit back behind you. Remember not to arch the spine. Try to keep that spine in neutral, really working the muscles along the upper back and getting a stretch through the chest. And then draw those arms back down by the sides. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, arms forward, separate the palms and lift, and then exhale, draw the arms back behind you. And then 1 more round, arms out and up as you inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, arms forward, maybe a little bit up, and then exhale, arms back behind you, stretch out through the chest. And then let's return. Let's find back our way into our mountain pose. Let's come into a half sun salute. So let's draw those arms out and up. As you exhale, soft bend in the knees, dive it into a forward fold. Hands onto the chair or your legs for support, elbows alongside the body. Inhale, doing a little push-up to press halfway up, and then exhale, release back down. And then let's rise all the way to standing. Find that strong flat back, engage through the core, squeeze your glutes and legs, arms out and up, and then exhale, hands to the heart. So when coming up, think about when we're coming up and down out of our chair. We're squeezing through the muscles of our glutes and our legs. And even if you did stay seated in the chair, you're still getting that same work through the legs and the core when we rise from halfway or even our full forward fold all the way to the top. Let's do that again. Arms out and up as you inhale. Exhale, dive it down. Inhale, halfway lift, squeeze those muscles in the legs, and then exhale, release. And then rising all the way back up with a strong flat back, using those same muscles that we use to come out of our chair and hands to the heart. One more round, half sun salute. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, dive it down. Remember, making feel good to the body. Inhale, halfway lift, strong flat back. Exhale, release. And then press into the chair, squeeze your leg muscles, your core to rise with a flat back, arms back to your heart. I'm going to change the position of my chair so I can give you the side view. And then from here, let's come into Warrior One. Step your foot back, bend that front knee, stack it and track it. Back toes are angled to the outside of the chair and then upright. One or two arms lift, but both shoulders pull down. And then from here, let's turn the palms to face back behind us. And instead of just thinking of turning at the wrist, think of turning at the little bit of the shoulders. So it's this action of the shoulders starting to get a little bit more openness, moving the shoulders down. You can bend those elbows as far as you need to be more comfortable if you need to. So really feeling that work of the shoulders. Take another moment here. And then on the next exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Find about 45 degrees, halfway to humble. And then you can either set your hands onto the top of the chair for a little bit more support. If you can maintain that neutral position in the spine, strong flat back, then you can draw those arms back behind you. And breathing here, and then straightening the arms as much as is comfortable. So really strong through the core. We don't want to be rounding too much pressure on the lower spine. We want to try to keep that spine in as neutral position as you can. That's when the spine is strongest, and then supporting, using the muscles around the spine, the core to support the spine. And then let's slowly upright. Let's come back to Warrior One, but this time just have the palms facing each other as you take an inhale, and then exhale, release fingertips onto the chair. Step it forward over to the other side. So really set up your feet well, heels of the feet, hip bone distance. Start to bend the front knee, stack it atop the ankle, track it towards the center of the toes and freeze it there. Back toes angle to the outside of the chair. Upright the spine, strong back leg. And then when you're ready, let's find ourselves in Warrior One. Move the shoulders down. And then turn the palms of the hands to face back behind you. And you can tell if you are just using the wrists because the elbows don't move. So if we're using the shoulders, the elbows start to kind of draw a little bit closer towards each other. So the elbows are about shoulder width distance apart. Moving the shoulders down. Really good work for the shoulders. But if you do need to modify or skip, feel free to do so. Breathing here. So constant work of the shoulders. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, hinge forward up to 45 degrees or even higher. You can come up higher if you need to. And then maybe the hands are just resting onto the top of the chair, or maybe you're drawing the arms back behind you. And breathing. Really strong through the core, strong through the shoulders, strong through the legs, the feet, the ankles, everything strong. And then let's upright the spine, inhale, our standard Warrior One, palms facing each other, and then exhale, fingertips down, step forward. Let's come into a supported forward fold. Separate those feet a little bit wider than the hips, soft bend in those knees, forearms onto the top of the chair. And then maybe it's a little kind of pedaling through the legs, bending one knee and straightening the opposite leg, and just a little bit of movement if that feels good, or just coming into stillness. All right, let's place our hands onto the top of the chair, straighten those arms, draw the shoulders back. So strong through the core, strong flat back, shoulders moving down. And let's start to step our feet back. As we step our feet back, coming into downward facing dog, we're starting to hinge forward at the hips. So we're not rounding through the spine. We're trying to keep that nice length through the spine. And it's up to you how far back you'd like your feet to walk. Try to keep those hips right over the feet and hinging forward. You can have a bend in those knees. You'll feel a stretch all along the back of the legs. And then relaxing the shoulders down. Think about that external rotation at the shoulder joint so the elbows start to point down, pointy parts of the elbows start to point down, and just lowering to a comfortable point. No lower than the ears in line with the arms. And breathing here. So stretching it out, finding your Ujjayi breath. This is our downward facing dog on the chair. Last round of breath here. Remember, you're welcome to stay up a little bit higher if you'd like. And then with those bends in the knees, with the core engaged, let's start to walk ourselves forward and back to upright. Adjust clothes if you need to. Let's come to mountain pose, separating those feet by hip bone distance apart. And then let's come into our high crescent pose. Step a foot back. Remember to separate your feet, especially in high crescent pose, hip bone distance or even a little bit wider for balance, because all 10 toes we'll try to get pointing as forward as we can. Bend that front knee, stack it and track it, upright the spine. You might feel that your back heel is lifted a little bit off of the floor. We're not actively trying to lift it off of the floor. We're melting it down to a comfortable stretch and working on the balance. Let's draw those arms forward and up and pull the shoulders down. Move those shoulder blades down. Tighten up through the core. Breathe here. So you might feel some more wiggles in those ankles and the feet because they are working on keeping you upright. If you do need to keep a hand onto the chair, always you are welcome to do that. Let's turn the palms to face back behind us from that external rotation at the shoulders. So you will notice that the elbows start to come more towards shoulder width distance apart. Pointy parts of the elbows start to point forward. Take an inhale here, and then as you exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Think of our humble crescent as far as you can. Maintain that strong flat back, long spine, and draw those arms back behind. Little squeeze of the shoulder blades, still neutral position in the spine. Breathing here. I'm wiggling around a little bit, but I'm able to maintain my balance. Find your Ujjayi breath. Let's upright. Draw those arms forward and up. And then fingertips down, step it forward over to the other side. Maybe shake it out if you need to. Opposite foot steps back, find high crescent base on this side. So make sure that knee is stacked atop the ankle, tracking towards the center of the toes. Back leg is strong and straight, or moving towards straight. Neutral position in the spine to start, all 10 toes pointing as forward as you can. Maybe one or two or no arms lift. It's up to you how you feel balanced, especially on this side. And then let's start to find that external rotation at the shoulders so that the palms of the hands start to point back, pointy parts of the elbows forward. Take an inhale. And then exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Any amount up to 45. And draw those arms back behind. Little squeeze of the shoulder blades. Relatively neutral position in the head. You can look forward. And breathing, finding, working the balance. Squeezing this outer hip, the outer front hip. And then let's upright the spine. Back to high crescent pose. Move those shoulders down, palms facing each other. And then hands back to the chair. Go ahead and step it forward. Let's come one more time into our downward facing dog. Kind of the slow way to come into downward facing dog. So soft bend in the knees, hands are resting onto your chair, arms are relatively straight, meaning you're not locking out the joints. And as you start to step your feet back, you're hinging forward at the hips with a generous bend in those knees. And maybe it's just relatively high downward facing dog. Or if it is okay on your body to go a little bit lower, maybe you're releasing down. And breathing here. Easy stretch for the chest, the arms, the spine, back of the body. Such a great pose. And then soft bend in the knees, engage through the core so you can lift up and step it forward. Okay, let's move. I will face you now into our Warrior 2 series. Let me adjust my clothes a little bit. And then from here, let's start to separate those feet. So let's get a stretch stretch through those legs before we move into warrior two. So coming into our side lunges. So from here, let's hinge forward. You can bend those knees generously if you need to. Come onto your forearms onto the top of the chair, and we'll start to bend. I'll mirror you. So let's bend the right knee. And remember, anytime we bend those knees, we want to make sure they don't go past the toes and they track towards the direction of the center of the toes, and then come back up, and then just a little side lunge over to the other side. So wherever you feel that mild sensation of a stretch, just kind of easing into things, opening things up, finding that Ujjayi breath. I'm going to do one more time on each side. And then let's come back to center. Hands on to the top of the chair, elbows in. Let's do a little push-up to upright with a strong flat back. Draw those heels in, bend those knees. Come into temple pose. Knees track towards the center of the toes. They stay about atop the ankles, and then upright the spine. Energize through the legs. Shoulders over the hips as best as you can. Head over tailbone. Think of mountain pose from the waist up, and then maybe the arms out. Move the shoulders down. So if you do find the balance is challenged, you can keep a hand onto the chair. And then let's start to draw those elbows in. Imagine you have those trays of food. You want to make sure that it doesn't fall off. And then go ahead and extend it out or forward, whatever feels comfortable. Keep moving the shoulders down. Lots of external rotation for the shoulders today. Good strengthening work for the shoulders, but remember to modify or skip if you need to, especially if you have any shoulder concerns. Let's do one more time. Elbows in, little squeeze, and then extend them out. Turn the palms of the hands to face down, hands onto the chair, straighten up, all 10 toes pointing forward as best as you can. Straight legs, inhale to lift, exhale, hinge forward at the hips, wide leg forward fold. Forearms onto the top of the chair or hands onto the seat of the chair. Move the weight a little bit more towards the balls of the feet. Easy, mild sensation of a stretch along the back of those legs. Last round of breath. And then soft bend in those knees. Hands onto the top of the chair, elbows in. Press your way up. Heel toe those feet more to your warrior two stance. And then let's lift the right heel, externally rotate at the hip so the right knee, the right toes point out to the right, heel to arch alignment, left toes slightly forward to the left heel. And then let's find your way to your warrior two. Energizing through that outer right hip, arms out, move the shoulders down. Turn the palms to face up, draw the elbows in. All right, so this will be kind of our starting position. And then as you straighten those arms, remember out or forward, start to straighten the right leg. So all the limbs are straight. And then bend through the right knee, elbows in, plates on your hands, and then go ahead and straight. And then bend. And then let's straighten up those arms and the right leg. Let's return back to warrior two, palms facing down. Open the arms out, bend through that right knee. Flip the right palm. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Easy stretch. Maybe hand onto the chair if you need it for support. Come back. Palms down. Hands onto the chair. Straighten the right leg. All 10 toes pointing forward as best as you can. Take an inhale. Exhale out the mouth. And then Ujjayi breath over to the other side. External rotation at the hips. So everything is moving to the left on that left leg. And then find warrior two on this side. Really checking, always checking to make sure the alignment is there, that the foundation of the pose is where it should be. Open those arms, move the shoulders down. Take a moment here. And then flip the palms. Remember, you can draw those arms a little bit forward if you need to. Bend those elbows so the elbows hug in, shoulders moving down. This is our starting point. And then as we extend those arms with the plates of imaginary food, straighten the left leg. And then rebend the elbows, rebend that left knee. Make sure it's tracking towards the center of the toes. And then go ahead and straighten the limbs. And then rebend. And then let's straighten the limbs. And then rebend. Nice. And then let's go ahead and straighten up. Turn the palms to face down. Open up those arms. Rebend the left knee. Warrior two. Flip your left palm. Reach it up and back. Reverse your warrior. Nice easy stretch. And then come back. Warrior two. Hands down. All 10 toes pointing forward. Inhale to lift. And exhale, hinge forward. Easy stretch. If it feels good to add a tiny bit of movement, a little sway of the hips you can, or a little side lunge you can. So just feeling out how your body's doing. And then hands onto the top of the chair, elbows in. Let's do that push up to upright. Let's lift your right heel, externally rotate at the hip. So the right knee, right toes point to the right, coming into warrior two stance. Once again, arms out. Let's come into side angle pose. Shift a little bit to the right, hand or forearm onto the thigh, and let's sweep this left arm. Keep the shoulders down, back or forward, and then back so it aligns over the ear. Or you can keep the left arm up to the ceiling, whatever feels comfortable to you. Breathing here, side angle pose. And then let's draw the left arm up to the ceiling, if that's comfortable on the shoulders, and move into triangle pose. So you're pressing those hips back and up as you start to straighten the leg, your right leg. Feel that work happening along the side waist. Take an inhale. Remember, if it's better to place your hand onto the chair. If you need more support, you can. We're not pressing into that front leg. And then let's rebend. Upright warrior two, hands down, all 10 toes pointing forward. And let's move over to the other side. Over to the other side. First finding warrior two, making sure the alignment is there, especially that front knee, strong in the base. Open up the arms, pull the shoulders down. Side angle pose, that little shift, hand or forearm onto the thigh, and then the opposite arm can sweep across and up, or you can draw it up to the ceiling. So whatever feels best for your shoulder. You can even skip, move the shoulder down, taking a few moments in side angle pose, thinking about that nice straight line, at least from the shoulder down to that outer hip, to the outer edge of that foot. And then let's draw top arm up to point towards the ceiling, shoulder down. And then as we come into triangle pose, we're pressing those hips back and up as we start to straighten that front leg, and maybe taking the hand to the chair for support. If you do notice you're pressing down a lot, think of lifting from that top arm up and then still engaging through that sideways triangle pose. One more round of breath here. Soft bend in that knee so you can upright, come back. Warrior two, and then hands onto the chair, all 10 toes pointing forward. Inhale to lift, exhale, hinge. One more breath here. Press into the hands, elbows in, do a little push up to come back up. Heel toe those feet, hip bone distance. Let's come into now just a supported forward fold to stretch out the back of the body, soft bend in the knees. Stretch out that back. So forearms onto the thighs, and maybe come into a little cat pose, pulling in the belly. And then bend through those knees and slowly roll it on up. And we'll do our balance. So I'm just moving the chair to the side so you can see my feet, but you can keep the chair right in front of you. Remember, anytime you feel like you're losing your balance, place a hand down, step out of tree pose, or you can keep a hand on the chair the whole time. So we want to feel challenged, but we don't want to feel like we're going to fall over. So let's start. We're going into a slow motion tree. So I'll mirror you. Let's start with your left leg as your standing leg. So let's start to lift the right heel off of the floor. You're welcome to stay here if you can. You can lift the foot a little bit higher or the whole foot off of the floor, working on the balance here. So each stage you can work on your balance. You can stay at whatever stage feels comfortable to you. I'm wavering a lot. And then let's open the knee, and we'll slowly place the foot to the inside of the leg. And maybe your toes are down, or maybe they're not. And then finding your balance, finding the position of the arms. You can keep a hand hovering over the chair, hands at the heart or arms out. Maybe come into this arm position that we have been doing a lot today. So we're really working on the strength of the shoulders, the muscles of the upper back, even the triceps are involved, lots of arm muscles involved. And then let's slowly release. Shake it out. Let's move over to the other side, standing tall now in your right leg. Let's lift the left heel. Maybe the left toes stay down, or maybe you lift the toes up, flexing through that foot. First, find your balance here. Maybe stay here. Maybe start to open up and place the foot to the inside of the leg. Thinking about mountain pose. Maybe hand stays on the chair, maybe arms extend out, maybe elbows draw in. And you can work on, if it's comfortable, to draw those hands a little bit more out so the fingertips are pointing away from each other. But find what works best for your shoulders. Keep the shoulders down. One more round of breath in our tree pose. Whoa. And then let's relax. Shake it out. Nice work, everyone. Whew. Okay, so now let's come into our seated stretches. So just very carefully and slowly have a seat in your chair, and I will meet you there. Well done on those standing poses. So let's get some good stretches in. Let's start by sitting a little bit forward into your chair or towards the front edge of the chair. And we'll just do a standard stretch for the backs of the legs. So extend one leg forward, separate your feet a little bit wider than the hips, toes point up. Let's have the hands on the other leg. Take an inhale to sit up tall, and then exhale, hinge forward at the hips. And until you feel your mild sensation of a stretch along the back of the leg. And just take a few rounds of breath here and notice what's happening with the toes. Keep those toes of the straightened leg pointed up towards the ceiling. And relaxing. So the weight of my upper half of the body is translated into my forearm, onto the thigh or the leg, which has the nice bend in that knee. And breathing here. So you might also feel a stretch along the back of the body too. And then let's press our way up. Let's move over to the other side. Straighten, flex through the foot, hinge forward at the hips, and then relax. Mild sensation of a stretch all along the back of the leg. And take a few deep rounds of breath here. Still finding your Ujjayi breath as best as you can. Notice if you're kind of collapsing down. Keep lots of space between the shoulders and the ears. And then let's press our way up. Sit back. Let's draw those feet together. So we did a lot of shoulder work. Let's get some good stretches for the shoulder. We'll come into our seated eagle pose. So let's start to cross your right thigh over the left. Or if it's not as comfortable, you can also cross at the ankles. Before we come into our full eagle pose, we'll do a little stretch for those hips. So we'll take an inhale here, and then as you exhale, fold a little bit forward. And then you can just cross at the wrists, or even just place the hands in each other. And so we're folding forward, not so much where we're compressing through the belly. We still want the belly to be able to move as you breathe, but just a little fold forward so you get an easy, mild sensation of a stretch on those outer hips and a stretch along the back of the body. This is kind of our eagle pose prep and a stretch for those hips. And then press your way up. And now let's add the upper half of the body. Draw those arms out, pull the shoulders down. So the right thigh is on the bottom, so we will have your right elbow on the bottom as well. So either option one, fingertips on the shoulders, pull the shoulders down. If you'd like, you can come into kind of full eagle arms, wrapping those forearms around each other. And then maybe staying here or maybe folding forward until you feel your elbows can rest on your thighs. So if your elbows can't quite rest on the thighs, we don't want to just be hanging out. We want to be supported. So then just come back to sitting up tall. So if you can rest your elbows down, that way the weight of your upper half of the body is translated into your legs and off of your lower spine. And then just take a moment here, nesting our eagle, but making sure that the belly has somewhere to go. So we're not compressing through the belly. And then to upright, use your strong core muscles to upright as you release the arms out, down. Let's switch over to the other side. Your left thigh crosses over the right or at the ankles, whatever is comfortable. We'll first fold forward to stretch out the hips and then folding forward. Making sure you have space to breathe. Noticing if your hips are twisting at all, try to keep those hips even. And then press your way up. Let's add the arms, extend them out. Now, since your left thigh is on top, we'll have the left arm be on the bottom. And then find your eagle arms, whatever feels good. I'll just stay with this option to start. And then folding forward, only if you can rest your elbow on your thigh. Remember, if you can't, feel free to or just stay upright, sitting up tall. You'll still get a really nice stretch for the shoulders and the upper back. And then using your strong core, upright yourself, release those arms out and then down. Let's come into our seated fish pose. Let's set those feet together, inner thighs together. We're sitting towards the front edge of the chair. We're drawing our hands back behind us, heels of the hand onto the chair. Whatever is comfortable, you can have your fingers facing away from you or out to the side. And it just depends on the type of chair that you have. And then we'll open up the chest, draw the shoulders back. So we're stretching out now through the fronts of the shoulders and the chest. And then a little arch in the spine to a point that is comfortable. Draw the heart forward. Maybe lean it back. So the arms are relatively straight. And we're just getting a nice stretch through the chest. Breathing here. And then let's upright ourselves. Scooch back into the chair. Let's do one more stretch for the neck. So we are sitting up tall. Our back is not onto the chair. We're just scooching ourselves back a little bit. Take an inhale. As you exhale, let's draw the head over to one side, feeling an easy stretch along the side of the neck. And of course, if you do have any neck concerns, please skip this. So we are still sitting up tall, engaging through the core. And then very slowly through center over to the other side. Nice, easy stretch for the neck. And then noticing any kind of tight spots, any sticky spots. And maybe you can ask somebody else in your household to give you a little massage or just give yourself a little self-massage after your practice. And then let's slowly draw ourselves up. Let's lean it back. Get yourself comfortable for our final pose of Shavasana. So staying relaxed and upright, turning the palms to face up if you need a little bit more energy for your day. Palms to face down if you need a little bit more grounding, more soothing, more calming. And then you can close the eyes or have a soft gaze down towards the floor. Let's take an inhale together. Exhale out the mouth. And I'll take just a couple minutes here to fully relax the body and the mind and also rejuvenate. And slowly begin to deepen your breath. Send some movement into your fingers, into your toes. Let's draw the palms of the hands together at our heart. Just taking a moment here. And then stack the hands atop our heart. Take a moment to feel gratitude for anything or for everything that you are grateful for. Then let's draw the palms back together at our heart center. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice. It is truly a privilege and a joy. Namaste. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Hope you are feeling healthy and staying safe, and we will see you next time.